The smell of bleach is what hits me first. It's so strong it burns my throat, ripping me from a dreamless void into a harsh, fluorescent-lit reality. I'm on my knees on a cold, damp linoleum floor, a heavy mop in my hands. I'm wearing a cheap, navy blue polyester uniform with a badge that reads, Sunrise Towers. My hands are cracked and red from the chemical. This is wrong. Last I remember, I was wearing a silk Dolce & Gabbana sheath dress, standing on a balcony overlooking the Manhattan skyline. I just closed a deal worth $47 million. I was on top of the world. I was Laura Vance. Then I hear it. A voice that makes my blood run cold. High, sweet, and dripping with a false concern I know all too well. Oh Laura, I'm so sorry. You must be exhausted. I look up, and my vision swims. There she is. Penelope Hart. Her blonde hair is in a perfect, sleek ponytail. She's wearing a crisp white coat, holding a leather-bound portfolio. She's standing by the staff entrance to the building I'm apparently now employed to clean. My building. Penelope's smile doesn't reach her eyes. Marcus is just finishing up his rounds, she says, her voice smooth as silk. He'll be out in a minute. The name hits me like a physical blow. Marcus. My chest tightens, a familiar, searing pain from a life I thought I'd left behind, but a life I'm apparently living all over again. From the corner of my eye, I see him. He's pushing a cart laden with cleaning supplies, just like mine. The gray, industrial-grade janitorial uniform does nothing to hide the breadth of his shoulders, but it's the posture that breaks my heart. His head is down, his gait slow and heavy. He looks defeated, diminished. This is not the confident man I manipulated into giving up a partnership at the most prestigious law firm in the city for a woman who didn't deserve a single second of his loyalty. This is the man I destroyed. For her. Just a janitor now. Can you believe it? Penelope whispers, her voice dripping with conspiratorial sympathy, pretending she's sharing this with me as a friend, the new help. She doesn't know. She doesn't know I'm the woman who was in his life before she swooped in with her tears and her accidental injuries. She doesn't know I'm the one who orchestrated his fall from grace. My mind is a hurricane of fragmented memories. The frantic phone call from her, crying that she'd been in a car accident and needed him. The devastating ultimatum I gave him, a classic corporate power play that I'd seen my father pull 100 times. Me or the job. I knew, with the arrogance of a young woman who'd never lost, that he'd choose me. We were building a life together. But I watched him waver. I saw the conflict in his eyes. And just as he was about to say he was staying with me, I played my last, most brutal card. I offered him the choice a second time, framing it as a test of his true commitment. It wasn't a test. It was a dismissal. I told him if he had to think about it, he'd already failed. He chose her. He called the senior partner an hour later and resigned. He gave up everything to rush to her bedside. It was the most impulsive, romantic, and utterly stupid thing he'd ever done. And I just stood there, a cold, hard knot of pride in my stomach, letting him walk out the door. I convinced myself I was teaching him a lesson he'd regret. Laura, are you even listening? Penelope's sharp voice pierces my daze. I stare at her. The anger and regret that have been a cold knot in my soul for 15 years, the years I lived in the original timeline, are suddenly right here, fresh and molten in my veins. I remember everything. The way I used my father's fortune and connections to blacklist him from every major firm in the city after he chose her. His slow, humiliating career implosion, which she eventually blamed him for, saying he couldn't support her lifestyle. Before she left him for a tech CEO. The way he quietly vanished from the professional world. And then I died, after a lifetime of successful isolation, and woke up here, on my knees, with a mop, in the final act of a play I wrote for him. No, I say, the word barely a whisper. It's the first thing I've said. No, I haven't been listening to a damn word you've said, Penelope. Her eyes widen in shock. What did you just say to me? Marcus, hearing the raised voices, finally looks up. His eyes, the same deep, weary brown I remember, meet mine. There's a flicker of confusion in them. He doesn't recognize me. He looks right through me. To him, I'm just the new cleaning lady. The humiliation is so acute I can taste balda. Listen. I say, my voice trembling but gaining strength as I push myself to my feet. The mop clatters to the floor. You can spare me the act. You don't need to be my friend. You never did. Penelope recoils as if I've slapped her. Excuse me, I'm Dr. Hart. I'm the building manager's wife, and you're the new cleaning staff. I don't know what kind of attitude you think you can have, but it's not going to fly here. Dr. Hart, I repeat, the words dripping with the same acidic contempt I used to reserve for my biggest competitors. You know what, Penelope, you can have the janitor. You always could. He's a good man. He's one of the best men I've ever known, which is why I'm surprised he could stand to be in the same room as you for more than 5 minutes. The silence that falls is absolute. Marcus has frozen mid-step, his cart in front of the elevator. I've just thrown a bomb into the sterile, polished lobby of my own building deck. Who the hell do you think you are? Penelope hisses, her composure finally cracking. I could have you fired on the spot. Go ahead. I challenge, my heart pounding against my ribs. But before you do, let me tell you something. I'm not sure where this boldness is coming from. In my past life, I was all cold calculation, never outbursts. But this feels like survival. That man you destroyed, I say, jabbing a finger towards Marcus. He's not your caretaker. He's not your errand boy. I know what you did to him. Marcus is staring at me now, his brow furrowed. I'm sorry, he says, his voice a low rough rasp. Do I know you? His question breaks me. He doesn't remember. I was so important to him once, the center of his universe, and he's erased me from his memory. Or maybe he's just suppressed the trauma. I see the confusion, the shame in his eyes. He thinks I'm a stranger defending him for no reason. The world tilts. A wave of dizziness washes over me. Wah! I start, but the edges of my vision go black that I don't faint. I fight it, but the world narrows to a tunnel. And the next thing I know, I'm on the floor, my back against the cold wall. Marcus is kneeling in front of me. The smell of bleach is stronger now, mixed with a faint, clean scent of his soap. Penelope is gone. Probably went to call security. Good. Let her. Hey, Marcus says softly, his hand lightly touching my shoulder. You okay? You had a fall. You passed out. I blink up at him, the world swimming into focus. No, I didn't. I manage, my voice weak. I just stumbled. Right, he says, a ghost of a smile on his lips. It's the first hint of the old Marcus. You sure gave Penelope a piece of your mind. Not a lot of people do that. I have to tell him. The words are on the tip of my tongue. Marcus, it's me. It's Lara. I'm the one who did this to you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. But the words won't come out. The guilt is too heavy. It's a crushing weight on my chest. I'm the architect of his ruin, and now I'm getting a front row seat to the tragedy I wrote. I can't just tell him the truth and expect a hug. It's been, 5 years since he chose Penelope in my timeline. He's had a life after me. A life I ruined, but a life he lived at. You're the one who cleans the lobby, I finally ask, the mundane question a lifeline to normalcy. He nods, a grim look on his face. And the rest of the building? I'm the head of maintenance now. He emphasizes the head of with a dark irony. Don't worry about it. It's a living. I'm in the same building. I say, the realization hitting me. I'm sorry, I just got a new job. It's been a rough day. A janitorial job, he asks, his voice laced with a professional politeness that's worse than pity. Looks like it, I reply, gesturing to my uniform. We're two people who used to own this city. Stuck in the basement of our own ambitions, scrubbing floors. The cosmic injustice of it is staggering. I want to scream. I want to cry. I want to grab him by the shoulders and shake him until he sees me. Until he remembers who I was. Who we were. I think you should take the rest of the night off, he says gently, helping me to my feet. I know a guy who can cover your shift. No, I say, my voice firm. I'm fine. I need the money. He shrugs, defeated. Suit yourself. But if you need anything, I have an office in the basement. He gestures with his chin toward the staff door he came from. The one with the superintendent sign. It's not much, but it's got a coffee maker. I watch him walk away, his broad shoulders slumped again, pushing his cart of regret back into the service elevator. The air smells like bleach and defeat. I'm Lara Vance, the woman who had the world at her feet. And I just woke up in hell. But this isn't a cosmic punishment. This is a second chance. I didn't just die of a heart attack at 43 in a sterile, empty penthouse. I was given a do-over. A chance to undo the worst mistake of my life. The question is how? I don't have my old money, my old influence. I'm just a nameless face in a cheap uniform that all I have is the memory of a future that hasn't happened yet and a burning, overwhelming need to make things right with the man whose heart I broke to save his first love. The man who doesn't even know I'm here. I look down at my chapped hands. The first thing I need to do is prove to him I'm not the enemy. And the first step to that is to stop the first disaster I know is coming. In 3 days, the plumbing in the East Wing is going to burst, flooding the ground floor, ruining the brand new art exhibit in the main lobby, and costing the building manager, my new boss, a fortune in damages. I know because the insurance claim was a huge scandal in the original timeline. It was the catalyst that led to Sunrise Towers firing all the maintenance staff, including Marcus, and he was blamed for it. His final humiliation. Not this time. I'm not a corporate shark anymore, but I'm a survivor. And tonight, I'm going to go down into that basement office, and I'm going to save his job. It's a small, meaningless gesture, maybe, but it's a start. It's the only way I can begin to earn the right to say the only word that matters. Sorry. Marcus's office in the basement is a closet. It's barely 8 feet square, lit by a single buzzing fluorescent tube. And the air is thick with the smell of old dust and motor oil. There's a scarred metal desk that's seen better decades, a filing cabinet with a broken handle, and a coffee maker that looks like it's from the 1980s. He's got a few photos taped to the wall. A faded one of a man in a military uniform I assume is his father, and a snapshot of a golden retriever. No Penelope. No May. It's a shrine to loneliness. This is where the brilliant mind that argued cases before the state Supreme Court now spends his days. The man who could have been a judge is a janitor thanks to me and her. The guilt is a physical weight in my gut as I knock on the open door. Didn't expect to see you so soon, he says, looking up from a spreadsheet on his computer. Everything okay? I need to talk to you, I say, stepping into the small room. I shut the door behind me. It's about the plumbing in the East Wing. He raises an eyebrow, his expression cautious. The East Wing. What about it? I know this is going to sound insane, I say, my heart hammering. But you need to get a repair crew down there tonight. There's a hairline fracture in the main pipe, the one that runs through the old section. It's going to burst in 3 days. He stares at me for a long moment, and then a slow, disbelieving smile spreads across his face. Look, I appreciate the concern, but I think I would know if there was a burst pipe coming. I check those pipes myself every week. Not the one behind the drywall in the storage closet. I say, my voice urgent. The one that feeds the sprinkler system. It's been corroding for years. It's scheduled to rupture on Thursday evening, right around 7. How the hell would you know that? He asks, leaning back in his chair. His eyes narrow, scanning me with suspicion. Who are you really? This is it. The moment of truth. I can't lie to him. Not again. My name is Lara, I say softly. Lara Vance. The name hangs in the air between us. I watch his face for any flicker of recognition. There's nothing. Just that same weary confusion. The man I almost married doesn't remember me. The erasure is absolute. I can't tell him the full truth now. He'd think I'm insane. I have to prove myself first. I have to be a miracle worker, not a madwoman. A friend told me. I lie. A contractor friend. He used to work on the building, and he told me there was a bad repair job done on that pipe years ago. Said it was a ticking time bomb. Why would you care? He asks, his voice guarded. You just got here. You don't even have a paycheck yet. Because you're a good man, Marcus. I say, the words slipping out before I can stop them. And good men don't deserve bad things to happen to them. Something flickers in his eyes. A memory, maybe. A ghost of a feeling. He looks down at his hands, frowning. Thursday, you say, he mutters, mostly to himself. He pulls a worn notebook from his desk drawer and starts flipping through it. I don't have a cruise scheduled for Thursday. That's a problem. I can help. I offer quickly. I can run a pressure test. Just a basic one. I know how to do it. My father, he was a developer. The half-truth comes easily. My father was a developer. A ruthless one. But he taught me how buildings work, how the systems are interconnected. I might have been a high-powered executive in my other life, but I grew up in construction sites. I know my way around a pipe wrench. He stares at me for a moment, his expression unreadable. Then he sighs and nods slowly. All right, he says, rubbing the back of his neck. I don't have a lot of options. The building manager's not going to approve an emergency maintenance budget without a damn good reason. If you think you can find the problem, I'll give you a shot. I won't let you down, I say, the words sounding too desperate even to my own ears. That he hands me a key from a hook on the wall. Storage closet. East wing, 3rd floor. You'll need a flashlight and a pressure gauge. They're in the supply closet next to the boiler room. I'll be down there in an hour. I take the key, my fingers brushing against his. The contact is electric, sending a jolt through my system. He pulls his hand back quickly, as if he's been burned. Thanks, I say, my voice barely a whisper. I head out of the office and down the service corridor, my heart racing. The building is quiet at this hour. The normal hustle of tenants replaced by the hum of machinery and the occasional echo of a closing door. I find the supply closet and grab the tools I need, my hands trembling slightly as I climb the stairs to the 3rd floor. The storage closet in the east wing is a forgotten corner of the building, filled with old furniture, broken lamps, and boxes of outdated office supplies. I push a stack of dusty chairs aside to get to the back wall, where the sprinkler system pipes run behind the drywall. I press my ear against the wall, listening. I can hear the faint hiss of water, the steady rhythmic pulse of pressure. Sounds normal. But I know better. I set up the pressure gauge and run the test, just as I saw my father's engineers do 100 times. The needle jumps into the red zone almost immediately. There's a massive pressure drop, a clear sign of a leak somewhere in the system. The crack is already there, waiting to blow. Son of a bitch. I mutter under my breath. I hear footsteps behind me and spin around, my heart leaping into my throat. It's Marcus. He's standing in the doorway, a toolbox in his hand, looking at me with an expression of profound disbelief. You're right, he says, his voice hushed. The pressure's all wrong. How the hell did you know? I told you, I say, my voice steady despite my pounding heart. A friend told me. He sets the toolbox down and kneels beside me, peering at the gauge. His shoulder brushes against mine, and I feel the warmth of his body through the thin fabric of my uniform. This is going to be a nightmare to fix, he says, sighing. I'm going to have to cut through the drywall, maybe replace the whole section of pipe. It's going to take days. I'll help you, I offer. I know how to drywall. My father taught me. He looks at me, then really looks at me, his eyes searching my face. You're a little strange, you know that, he asks, but there's a hint of a smile on his lips. Most people don't volunteer to fix a building's plumbing on their first day. I'm not most people, I say, meeting his gaze. Something shifts in his expression. A flicker of recognition, maybe. Or just curiosity. It's hard to tell. But he doesn't pull away. All right, he says, his voice softer now. Let's get to work. We spend the next 3 hours cutting into the drywall, exposing the corroded pipe, and patching the weak section with a temporary clamp. It's not a permanent fix, but it'll hold for weeks, giving us time to order a replacement part. The work is dirty and exhausting, but it's the most alive I've felt in years. You know, he says, pausing to wipe the sweat from his brow. You're not like the other cleaning staff. You know your way around a toolbox. I've had a lot of jobs, I say, which isn't entirely a lie. In my original life, I had one job, but it was consuming. It taught me how to talk to people, how to see the cracks in a system, how to adapt. I appreciate the help, he says, his voice genuine. Seriously, you saved me a massive headache. The building manager would have had my head if that pipe burst. Don't mention it, I say, forcing a casual smile. We're on the same team now, right? He laughs at that, a low, warm sound that makes my heart ache. I guess we are. The next few weeks become a blur of routine. I learn the building's rhythms, the early morning commuters, the afternoon lull, the late-night drunks stumbling home. I keep my head down, scrub floors and empty trash cans, but I also find ways to be useful in other ways. I fix a stuck window on the 12th floor. I unclog a sink in the break room. I charm the secretary in the manager's office into giving me access to the building's maintenance logs. I'm a ghost, invisible and forgotten, but I'm watching everything. I see Marcus every day. He works the lobby shift in the mornings, nodding politely as I wheel my cart past him. We chat about small things, the weather, the annoying tenant in 4B, the slow elevator. I treasure every mundane conversation. It's more than I deserve. But I also see Penelope. She's a constant presence, striding through the lobby in her designer heels, her arm linked with the building manager's, her voice carrying the same false sweetness I remember. She's the queen of the castle, and I'm nothing but a servant. She doesn't speak to me, but she sees me. I can feel her gaze on my back, the unspoken question in her eyes. Who is this woman? What does she want? One afternoon, I'm in the break room, eating a sad sandwich I packed from home, when she walks in. She's wearing a white blouse and a pencil skirt, looking like she stepped out of a magazine. She eyes me with open curiosity. You're the one who fixed the pipe, she says, her voice clipped. The new cleaner. Yes, I say, keeping my expression neutral. Is there something I can help you with, Dr. Hart? She moves closer, her heels clicking on the tile floor. I'm just curious. You seem a bit overqualified for this job. You speak well. You don't look like you belong in a uniform. I need the work, I say, the same line I've been using for weeks. It's honest labor. She studies me for a long moment, her gaze sharp and appraising. You've been spending a lot of time with Marcus, she says, the name dropping from her lips like a spark. I've seen you two talking in the lobby. He's a nice man, I say, my voice steady. He's been helpful. He's a janitor, she says, the words dripping with contempt. Don't mistake his politeness for interest. He's not a lot of people's first choice. The insult hits me like a slap. I feel the anger rising in my chest, hot and fierce. You're wrong, I say, my voice cold. He's worth more than any of the men I've met in this building. He's worth more than your husband, that's for sure. Her eyes narrow, a flash of genuine fury crossing her face. You don't know who you're talking to, she hisses. I know exactly who you are, I say, standing up. I know you're the one who ruined his career. You made him give up his job for you. And then you left him for someone with a bigger bank account. You're the reason he's pushing a mop instead of a gavel. The words hang in the air, heavy and damning. Penelope's face goes pale, then flushed. You don't know anything, she says, her voice shaking. You're just a cleaning woman. You're nothing. I'm the woman who sees you for who you really are, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. And I'm not afraid of you. She opens her mouth to respond, but the door swings open and Marcus walks in. He sees me and Penelope, his eyes darting between us with a look of confusion. Everything all right, he asks, his voice cautious. Yes, I say, smiling smoothly. Just a friendly chat. Penelope stares at me, her expression a mask of tightly controlled fury. Then she turns and strides out of the room, her heels clicking like gunshots on the tile. She's a piece of work, isn't she? Marcus says, watching her go. You have no idea. I mutter under my breath. He looks at me, his brow furrowed. Why do I feel like you know her like you know me? The question catches me off guard. I can't answer it. Not yet. I just have a good memory, I say, avoiding his gaze. I don't remember you, he says, his voice quiet. But sometimes, when you talk, I feel like I've known you for years. Like we're old friends. Or maybe something more. My heart skips a beat. This is the moment of truth. The turning point. I can't hold back anymore. I take a deep breath and look him in the eye. Marcus, I say, my voice trembling slightly. There's something I need to tell you. Something I should have told you a long time ago. I lead him to the basement office, the familiar confines of his small domain. He closes the door behind us, and I stand in the middle of the room, my hands shaking, my mind racing. I've been preparing for this moment for weeks, but now that it's here, I don't know where to start. Just say it, Marcus says, his voice gentle. Whatever it is, I can handle it. I take a deep breath and let the words spill out, a dam of secrets finally breaking. My name is Lara Vance. I begin, my voice barely a whisper. I'm not who you think I am. I'm not just a cleaning woman. I was someone else. A different person. His brow furrows, his expression shifting from confusion to concern. What are you talking about? I can't tell him the truth about the time travel. Not yet. It's too insane, too unbelievable. But I can tell him the truth about what I did. The part that matters. I was the woman who gave you the ultimatum. I say, the words heavy and cold. The one who told you to choose between your career and your girlfriend. I was the reason you walked away from the law firm. I thought I was teaching you a lesson, but I was wrong. I was so wrong. His face goes pale, his jaw tight. I see the memories flickering behind his eyes. The conflict, the pain, the decision that cost him everything. You, he says, his voice rough. It was you. Yes, I say, tears threatening to spill over. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't know how badly it would hurt you. I didn't know that I would destroy you. I was arrogant and stupid, and I ruined your life. He takes a step back, his hands clenching into fists at his sides. I can see the anger rising in him, the betrayal, the years of pain and humiliation. My confession is a bombshell, and I'm standing in the center of the blast zone. Why now, he asks, his voice barely controlled. Why are you telling me this now after all these years? Because I've changed, I say, my voice breaking. I've seen what I did, and I can't live with it anymore. I need to make it right. You can't make this right, he says, his voice hard. You can't undo the past. You can't give me back my life. No, I say, meeting his gaze. But I can help you rebuild it. I can help you get your career back. I can help you get your life back. He laughs, a bitter, hollow sound. How, you're a cleaning lady just like me. What can you possibly do? I have connections, I say, the words coming out in a rush. I know people who can help. I know a lawyer who's looking for a partner with your experience. I know a judge who owes me a favor. I can get you back in the game. He stares at me, his expression unreadable. Why would you do that? Why would you help me after everything you did? Because I loved you. I say, the confession ripping out of me. I loved you. And I was too proud to admit it. I pushed you away because I was scared. Scared of being vulnerable. Scared of losing myself. But I was the one who lost everything. I lost you. The silence stretches between us, heavy and suffocating. He stands there, motionless, his eyes searching my face for something. A lie, a trick, a sign that this is just another manipulation. That I don't know what to say, he finally says, his voice softer now. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking for forgiveness, I say, wiping the tears from my cheeks. I'm just asking for a chance to make things right. That's all I want. He turns away, running a hand through his hair in frustration. This is insane, he mutters. I've been cleaning floors for 5 years, blaming a faceless woman for ruining my life, and now she's standing in front of me, offering to help me fix it. It doesn't make sense. I know, I say. I know it doesn't make sense. But it's the truth. And I can prove it to you. I pull a folded piece of paper from my pocket. A letter I wrote that morning, addressed to the law firm I know is hiring. I hand it to him and he takes it slowly, his fingers brushing mine. What's this, he asks. An introduction, I say. To a friend of mine. He's the managing partner at a firm in Brooklyn. They're looking for a senior attorney with your background. I called in a favor. He's expecting your call. He reads the letter, his eyes scanning the words, and I see his expression shift. For a moment there's a glimmer of hope in his eyes. Just a glimmer. I can't promise anything, I say, my voice earnest. But I can promise to do everything in my power to help you. It's the least I can do. He folds the letter and tucks it into his pocket, looking at me with a mixture of confusion, anger, and something else. Something softer. Why do you care, he asks, his voice barely a whisper. Why do you care what happens to me? Because you're a good man. I say, the words simple and true. And you deserve better than this. The tears are streaming down my face now, and I don't bother to hide them. I've been so strong for so long, so cold and calculating. But here, in this cramped office with the man I destroyed, I let myself be weak. I'm sorry, I say again, the words inadequate but all I have. I'm so sorry. He doesn't say anything. He just stares at me, his expression unreadable, his eyes dark with emotion. Then slowly he takes a step forward and pulls me into a hug. It's an awkward, tentative embrace. Our arms wrapped around each other, the smell of bleach and stale coffee filling the space between us. But it's also the most honest, most human connection I've had in years. I don't forgive you, he whispers against my ear. Not yet. But I'm listening. I nod against his shoulder, the tears soaking into his uniform. It's not forgiveness. It's not redemption. But it's a start. A beginning that the weeks that follow are a slow, fragile dance. Marcus calls the law firm and lands an interview. I help him practice his arguments, drilling him on cases and legal strategies late into the night. We work side by side in the basement office, our conversation shifting from stilted professional exchanges to something deeper, more familiar. I can't believe I'm letting you help me, he says one evening, leaning back in his chair with a weary sigh. You ruined my life. People change, I say, shrugging. Or they try to. Do you believe that, he asks, his gaze sharp. That people can really change? I have to, I say. Otherwise, what's the point of any of this? He studies me for a long moment, his eyes searching my face. Then he nods, a small, hesitant gesture. Okay, he says. Okay. The interview is a success. Marcus is offered the job. A junior partner position with a solid salary and a path to advancement. It's not the Supreme Court, but it's a start. A real start. He tells me the news one morning in the lobby, his face lit with a happiness I haven't seen in years. I got it, he says, his voice trembling. I'm going back to work. A real job. Congratulations, I say, smiling despite the lump in my throat. I'm so proud of you. He stands there looking at me, and I see the conflict in his eyes. He's happy, but he's also confused. Torn between gratitude and the bitter memory of what I did to him. Why are you doing this, he asks, his voice quiet. Why are you helping me? Because I believe in second chances, I say, and it's the closest I can get to the truth without telling him everything. That he reaches out and takes my hand, his fingers warm and rough against my skin. Thank you, he says. For everything. The word hangs in the air between us, a fragile promise of possibility. I don't say anything. I just hold his hand and let myself believe that maybe, somehow, I can make things right. But Penelope is still a threat. I can feel her watching, a shadow in the corner of my vision. She's noticed the change in Marcus, the new confidence, the bright energy. She's not happy about it. I know she's planning something, and I need to figure out what before she strikes. One afternoon, I confront her in the lobby. She's been circling him like a shark, offering false praise, dropping subtle hints about wasting his potential. She's trying to break him down, to push him back into the trap she built. Leave him alone, I say, stepping in front of her. He's moving on. You need to let him go. She laughs, a cold, sharp sound. I'm not doing anything. He's a grown man. He can make his own choices. You've made him miserable for years, I say, my voice low and angry. You destroyed his confidence, his career, his life. And now you're trying to do it again. You're the one who ruined him, she snaps, her composure cracking. I had nothing to do with it. He made his own choice. You used him, I say, stepping closer. You lied to him. You manipulated him. You played the victim, and he fell for it. But I'm not going to let you do it again. Her eyes narrow, a flash of genuine fury crossing her face. You think you can save him, you think you can undo the past. It doesn't work that way. I'm not trying to undo the past, I say, my voice steady. I'm trying to build a future, and you're not going to be part of it. She stares at me, her face a mask of cold anger. Then she turns and walks away, her heels clicking against the marble floor. That night, I find Marcus in his office, staring at the letter from the law firm. Penelope came to see me, he says, his voice flat. She told me I was making a mistake, that I wasn't good enough for the job, that I'd fail. What did you say? I ask, my heart sinking. I said I didn't care, he says, looking up at me. Because I have someone in my corner who believes in me. He stands up and walks toward me, his eyes dark with emotion. Lara, he says, his voice soft. I don't fully understand you. I don't understand why you're here, or why you care, or why you won't let me give up. But I know that you're the reason I'm still standing. And I'm not going to let her win. He takes my hands in his fingers intertwining with mine. Whatever you did in the past, he says, you've made up for it. You've more than made up for it. I see you, Lara. I see who you are now. The words break through the last of my defenses. I lean forward, pressing my forehead against his chest, and let myself cry. I missed you, I whisper, the truth of it overwhelming me. I missed you so much. He holds me, his arms wrapping around me, and I feel the weight of years of regret and longing melting away. I'm not going anywhere, he says, his voice a low rumble against my ear. Not this time. I pull back and look up at him, my eyes still wet. You don't have to forgive me. You don't have to trust me. But I need you to know that I'm here. I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight for you, for us, for whatever we could be. He looks down at me, his gaze searching, and then he cups my face in his hands, his thumbs brushing away the tears on my cheeks. I don't know what the future holds, he says. I don't know if I can ever fully trust you. But I know that right now, in this moment, I want to try. He leans in, his forehead resting against mine, and we stand there in the quiet of the basement, two broken people trying to piece themselves back together. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a happily ever after. But it's a beginning. A fragile, hopeful, terrifying beginning. And that's more than I ever thought I'd get. The morning of Marcus's first day at the new firm, I wake up in my tiny studio apartment on the edge of the city, and for the first time in years, I feel something other than guilt. It's hope. Fragile and tentative, but real. That I dress carefully, choosing the only decent outfit I own. A simple black dress I found at a thrift store that somehow fits like it was made for me. I don't have much, but I want to look like someone who belongs in his world. Even if I'm still scrubbing floors in it, he's waiting for me in the lobby when I arrive. His uniform replaced by a sharp navy suit that makes him look like the man I remember. The man I destroyed. The man I'm trying to rebuild. You look incredible, I say, the words slipping out before I can stop them. He smiles, a real smile, and it lights up his whole face. You don't look so bad yourself. Though I have to say, I'm going to miss seeing you in that janitorial uniform. Don't get too used to it, I say, laughing. I still have a job to do. He steps closer, his hand reaching out to touch my arm. Laura, I want to ask you something. Anything, I say, my heart skipping. I know this is complicated, he says, his voice low. But I want to take you out tonight. A real date. To thank you for everything you've done. I open my mouth to respond. But before I can, the lobby doors swing open and Penelope strides in, her husband in tow. She's dressed in a designer pantsuit, her hair perfectly coiffed, her smile sharp as a knife. Marcus, she says, her voice dripping with false sweetness. I heard you got a new job. How exciting. I always knew you had potential. He stiffens beside me, his jaw tightening. Penelope, what do you want? Nothing, she says, her eyes flicking to me with barely concealed contempt. I just wanted to wish you well. And to warn you. People like her, she gestures at me. They have a way of dragging you down. You should be careful who you trust. Before I can respond, Marcus steps in front of me, his body a protective barrier. Don't, he says, his voice cold. Don't you dare talk about her like that. She's the reason I'm standing here today. She's the reason I have a second chance. And you're the reason I almost gave up. So I'm going to ask you nicely once. Stay away from me. Stay away from her. And don't ever speak to us again. Penelope's face goes pale, her mask of composure cracking. You can't talk to me like that. I'm the building manager's wife. I don't care if you're the mayor's wife, Marcus says, his voice hard. You don't get to poison my life anymore. You've done enough. She stares at him, her mouth open, but no words come out. Her husband tugs at her arm, muttering something about leaving, and she allows herself to be led away, her eyes burning with fury. The lobby falls silent. Marcus turns to me, his expression softening. I'm sorry about that, he says. She's been circling for weeks, trying to undermine me, trying to make me doubt myself. But I'm done letting her win. You stood up to her. I say, my voice barely a whisper. You stood up for me. Of course I did, he says, taking my hand. You're the only person in this building who's ever treated me like I mattered. You're the only person who believed in me. I'm not going to let anyone take that away. He lifts my hand to his lips and presses a gentle kiss to my knuckles. Tonight, he says. 7 o'clock. I'll pick you up. I nod, unable to speak, my throat tight with emotion. That night, he takes me to a small Italian restaurant in Brooklyn. The kind of place that's been there for decades, where the pasta is handmade and the wine is cheap but good. It's not the five-star establishments I used to frequent, but it's perfect. It's real. I never thought I'd be here, he says, twirling spaghetti around his fork. Not after everything that happened. I thought I was done. I thought I'd spend the rest of my life pushing a mop and wondering what could have been. You're not done, I say, reaching across the table to touch his hand. You're just getting started. He looks at me, his eyes dark and searching. Why did you do it, Laura? Why did you give me that ultimatum? I've been trying to understand, but I can't. We were happy. We were building something. I take a deep breath, the question I've been dreading finally heard, because I was scared. I say, my voice quiet. My father taught me that love was weakness, that showing vulnerability meant losing control. And when I saw you wavering, when I saw you considering her over me, I panicked. I thought if I couldn't be your first choice, I'd rather be your last. I'd rather push you away than let you leave on your own terms. That's insane, he says, but his voice is soft, not accusing. That I know, I say, tears pricking at my eyes. I know it was insane. But I was young, and I was broken, and I didn't know how to love. I still don't, not really. But I'm learning. And I want to learn with you if you'll let me. He sits back in his chair, studying me with an unreadable expression. The silence stretches, and I feel my heart sinking. I don't know if I can forget what you did, he finally says. I don't know if I can ever fully trust you. But I know that I want to try. I know that I feel something when I'm with you. Something I haven't felt in years. What is it? I ask, my voice barely a whisper. Hope, he says. I feel hope. The word hangs between us, fragile and beautiful. I reach across the table and take his hand, and he doesn't pull away. The weeks that follow are a slow, careful dance. Marcus throws himself into his new job, working late nights and weekends, rebuilding the career I destroyed. I keep my job at Sunrise Towers, but I also start taking classes online, studying business management, trying to find my own path forward. We talk every night, sometimes for hours, about everything and nothing. We share our fears, our dreams, our regrets. It's the most honest I've ever been with anyone, and it's terrifying. But it's also liberating. One evening, I'm in the basement office, organizing the filing cabinet he left behind, when I find a folder tucked in the back. It's labeled Lara Vance, and my heart stops. I open it with trembling hands, and I find a stack of documents, old letters, photographs. There's a picture of us at a charity gala, his arm around my waist, both of us smiling. There's a letter I wrote him years ago, talking about our future together. There's a copy of the partnership agreement he signed away, with a note scrawled in the margin. I chose wrong. My hands are shaking as I read through the contents. He kept it all. He kept everything. Even after I destroyed his life, he held on to the memory of what we were. I'm still holding the folder when he walks in, his briefcase in hand. Lara, he says, his face going pale. What are you doing? I found this, I say, my voice trembling. Why did you keep it? He sets his briefcase down and walks toward me, his expression a mixture of pain and vulnerability. Because I never stopped loving you, he says. Even when I hated you, even when I blamed you for everything, I couldn't let go. I tried, God knows I tried, but I couldn't. You were always there, in the back of my mind. The woman I lost. The woman I couldn't save. You didn't need to save me, I say, tears streaming down my face. I needed to save myself. And I'm trying. I'm trying so hard. He reaches out and cups my face, his thumb brushing away the tears. I know you are, he says. And I see it. I see how much you've changed. I see how hard you're fighting. And I want to fight with you. You do? I ask, my voice breaking down. I do, he says. I'm not saying it's going to be easy. I'm not saying I'm over what happened. But I'm willing to try. Because you're worth it, Lara. You've always been worth it. He leans in, his forehead resting against mine, and I feel the world shift around us. I love you, I whisper. I never stopped loving you. I love you too, he says, his voice raw. I think I always have. That night, we sit in the basement office, going through the old memories, talking about the past and the future. It's not a fairy tale. It's not a perfect ending. But it's real. And it's ours. A year later, Marcus is a full partner at the firm, and I've started my own small consulting business, helping people navigate the corporate world I left behind. I'm not the woman I used to be, cold and calculating, afraid of vulnerability. I'm someone new, someone stronger, someone who knows that love isn't weakness. It's the greatest strength of all. We move into a small apartment in Brooklyn, far from the towers of Manhattan, far from the memories of our old lives. It's modest, but it's ours. And every morning I wake up next to him, I feel a surge of gratitude for the second chance I was given. The last time I see Penelope is at a charity event, months after Marcus started his new job. She's clinging to her husband's arm, her smile brittle, her eyes hollow. She looks older, worn down by years of pretending. She sees me and freezes, her expression flickering with something I can't quite identify. Jealousy, maybe. Regret. Or just exhaustion. I don't say anything. I don't need to. I've won. Not because I defeated her, but because I found something she never had. I found redemption. I found forgiveness. I found love. Marcus takes my hand as we walk away, his fingers intertwining with mine. You okay? He asks, his voice soft. I'm perfect. I say, and for the first time in my life I mean it.